let's fix this slide here, everyone. Let's do this real quick. Hold on. There we go. There we go. But good evening, everyone. This is our final part of C.S. Lewis' book, A Grief Observed. This will be part four and the final part to this book. I hope with these videos you have gained some sort of healing or some things to talk about, knowing that some of the things that you go through are that there are people out there who do go through those same steps, much like you. That to question God, to question everything about your faith and the grief that you observe is nothing out of the ordinary. It's all part of it. Um, but yet, C.S. Lewis, part four, he brought up a very interesting quote, or he a very interesting statement. And he made the statement that he wants Christ, not something that looks like him, and he wants his wife, but not something that looks like her, and that the idea of oh, what's the word I'm looking for? The image that we constantly hold of Christ, of who he is constantly shared over and over by the more we dive into who Christ is and what he's about. And even Christ himself shatters those own images that we have of him. It's like, no, that's not me, guys. Let me show you who I really am. And it was amazing here in the final chapter here in the book that C.S. Lewis came to that conclusion. And in this final chapter of this book, C.S. Lewis is basically at sort of acceptance. Um, he's kind of more instead of grieving, he's more sorrow. And the best way I could understand it, that he thinks that sorrow will never subside, because we do long for the relatives that we do lose, the loved ones that we do lose. But yet, which sorrow and grief, I imagine there is a difference to them, but I don't think we ever technically stop grieving for the people that we do lose, um, just because we share the stories of who they were and what they were about and what they stood for. We remember those stories, and we'll have our moments of just grieving, of severely missing them, of just sadness and encapsulating us, and it's like everyone else. We'll have our good days, we'll have our bad days, but it's all part of the process. But where C.S. Lewis now is in the book, he is more in a phase of acceptance of this is the new reality, and he's kind of realizing more and more little things of what happened to him when he was in a relationship with his wife. He talks about how how his wife kind of took some things from his bachelor days that he can no longer have. I don't know if that was more of a sorrow thing or kind of a funny thing that he noticed. Um, he's visiting more of the places he uh, that he frequented with either by himself or with age. He's getting out more and more. One of the things that he did mention that I strongly suggest people who do see this video is he goes for a long, long walk each and every day. And he said, I'd rather go to bed tired than anything else, meaning that he's being physically active and that he's not sitting in the moment all day long 24/7. But he's slowly getting back to living life after the passing of his wife. And we all come to those conclusions every now and then, and everyone has their own time. What but yet, as loved ones looking in who witness, say, like a parent who is grieving, we should always keep mindful and keep an eye on them just to be on the safe side. Make sure no one needs any counseling, but especially with kids. Oh man, kids need the counseling. Kids need the guidance working through those emotions and those feelings, because sometimes they don't know how to grieve, or they don't know how to process everything that's went on, especially in these trying times. And we kind of see that with within the, I would say, the streets of the urban areas, because when someone loses, say, like a brother or sister or a parent to the streets through gang violence or something like that, the obvious reaction is revenge kind of thing, or try to go my own way just to survive, and that's not a way that's not a way to living a life just to survive is just not a way to live. But C.S. Lewis, in his final chapter, is more of acceptance, more of realizing that a lot of his anger was justified, but also wasn't justified. That he was in the moment of just anger. Like he rereads his notes, his notes that he made in this book, and he's like, "Wow, I really did write that. Wow." But yet we all go through that. We might have bursts of anger and sadness where we'll say things that we don't really mean. That we just someone might say one word that sets us off, and it's more of a reaction than a intellectual process. Um, but yet it's all part of the process. It really is. Um, but for those who do see watch these videos, who are going through that process of grieving and everything, you're not alone. A lot of the same feelings and thoughts that you are feeling right now, you're not the only one who has felt them. Now, that doesn't mean I'm in your shoes at right now. All the variables of why you're grieving and how you've been grieving, they're completely different. But the process of itself has been different. And everyone's process takes either shorter or longer times. There's no time frame. But yet just be able to surround yourself with the correct support system. For C.S. Lewis, it was his I think he had three or four sons. I can't remember how many. I know he had three, but he had his boys, and he probably had some colleagues within academia who kept an eye on him, who walked with him, and who had conversations with him. Um, but he knew what to do. He got to be more physically active. He got out of the house. He's walking to places that he used to frequent all the time, and it's just a process. And I know this is going to be a short video today, but that's really all that C.S. Lewis had. That he's finally in that phase of acceptance of living life without his wife. Um, it's still an adjustment period. Don't get me wrong; it is still an adjustment period, and it'll probably always be an adjustment period. But but it's one thing to grieve the loss, say for me as a grandparent or a friend, but it's one thing to grieve for the loss of a husband or wife. It's completely different, I think, in my opinion, at least. Um, But yet, just know this: you are going to get through it. We're I and the members of the church and the members of your community and support system, we got your back. We want to pray for you. We want to help you the best we can. And know this that we do love you and that you're going to get through this and God is going to be with you every step of the way. To all those at home, I hope this series has been a blessing to you as it was for me just reading through C.S. Lewis's book. Even though it was a short little book. Um, But yeah, going through grieving process is not always pretty. It is ugly, it is messy, but yet you come out clean on the other side. And you learn a little bit more about yourself. You learn a little bit more about God and who He is. And I hope this has been a blessing to you as it was to me. For all those at home, God bless you. And if I don't see you, and for those who might see this who are not part of the church where I pastor at, have a happy Easter here in the next month. God bless.